A hush falls over the cemetery as dawn breaks. Dew clings to the marble angels, and the air vibrates with birdsong. You walk among the stones engraved with names and dates, but what takes your breath away is the sudden warmth in your chest, the familiar emotional stretch you once felt next to someone who no longer answers the phone. That stretch is not your imagination. Edgar Cayce's trances asserted that consciousness cannot be buried, it flows forth like sunlight after a storm. When you speak to the dead with your inner voice, you are not rehearsing memories, you are vibrating a living chord that connects mind to mind. Every emotion has a frequency, and frequencies do not care about granite. Imagine two tuning forks, strike one, and the other will resonate in sympathy even across the room. Love works the same way, resonating across dimensions. Yet we rarely think of cemeteries as resonant chambers, we treat them as if they were doorbells that the dead must answer. Cayce urges us to reverse the logic. Our hearts are doorbells, graves, at best, relay addresses scrawled on old envelopes. If guilt whispers that you haven't visited often enough, remember that the emotional current runs through your veins, not the path between the driveway and the cemetery gate. The soul you mourn can feel you right now, exactly where you are. Stop, breathe, and ask yourself, what would love be like if I stopped apologizing for the distance? That feeling, expansive, weightless, almost electric, is exactly what it feels like to remember them. The stone memorial remains, the electric pulse does not.
Neuroscientists talk about engrams, neural patterns etched into brain tissue whenever we experience something emotionally intense. Cayce extended the idea beyond tissue. Memories, he said, are energy signatures stored in a field larger than the body. When you recall your grandmother's laugh, you're not pulling data from a biological hard drive, you're dialing into an energy record that floats in shared space. That's why a memory can feel so immersive, complete with long-forgotten scents and textures. Think of grief as a radio stuck between channels. The static crackles because of two competing frequencies, sadness for absence and gratitude for connection. Turn the dial toward gratitude, and the static fades away. Psychologists today advocate gratitude as a tool for dealing with grief, but Cayce recommended this practice nearly a century ago. Write a letter of thanks to the deceased, read it aloud, then burn it and watch the smoke rise, a symbolic offering of positive wavelengths. When nostalgia overwhelms you, do a quick calibration. Close your eyes. Ask yourself, what vibration am I cultivating, heavy with loss or light with appreciation? Make a conscious choice. The choice determines the field in which both you and your loved one live. A white feather on the windowsill. A song that plays at the exact moment you need reassurance. To skeptics, coincidence. To the thousands who wrote to Cayce begging for an explanation, evidence of a soul connection. Modern psychics label such moments as after-death communications, ADCs, and document them with surprising consistency, subtle, personal, rarely intrusive, often healing. Imagine a mother driving, tears smearing the highway, as her son's favorite number flashes on the dashboard, 333. She laughs through her sobs because 333 is their private joke. No angelic trumpets, just glowing numbers for 60 seconds, enough to turn despair into bittersweet wonder. Cayce argued that spirit respects free will, strange phenomena overwhelm it. Instead, the dead nudge reality in small, permission-based ways, a scent, a flash of light in peripheral vision, a warmth that lingers longer than physics would allow. The next time some strange pattern interrupts your routine, resist the reflex to shrug. Ask, if this is intentional, what message is love sending me? Accept the answer that emerges. Doubt will protest, gratitude will soften it. 100 years after Cayce's readings, quantum physicists describe a universe woven of probability and entanglement. Particles separated by oceans act as if they were joined together, change one, and the other responds instantly. If matter can whisper faster than light, why can't the mind? Research at the frontiers of neuroscience and physics explores non-local consciousness, the idea that consciousness operates like a field, everywhere at once, focused nowhere in particular until intention collapses possibility into experience. Cemeteries, then, are not sacred because of their location, they are sacred because of the intention that converges there. When dozens of family members gather for a memorial service, their combined focus creates a temporary temple in the quantum field. The deceased attend not by moving, but by arranging. The ripples in a pond meet in concentric harmony. That meeting point is the ceremony, invisible to satellite maps but dazzling to the subtle senses. Skeptical? Consider the double-slit experiments that show that mere observation changes physical outcomes. Your attention is not passive, it is an engaged force. Direct that force toward a loved one, and reality will reshape to shake hands across dimensions. Guilt is a barbed wire pain. It wraps tightly, piercing every attempt to move, whispering you should, until even sleep is painful. Cayce counseled grieving parents who blamed themselves for their children's illnesses, widows who replayed their last arguments, soldiers haunted by decisions made in seconds. His advice echoed a theme: the soul's curriculum is larger than any single event. You did not fail, you were both engaged in an ongoing lesson. Modern therapy reflects this principle through meaning-making, reframing loss as a catalyst for transformation. Write the story of your relationship, including its flaws, then add chapters on how you will honor that person by living differently. Maybe you volunteer at a hospice, or finally learn the guitar chords you promised to play together. Act on transforming guilt into honor. If the barbed wire is too tight to remove alone, enlist the help of flesh and blood companions. Talk openly with a friend, counselor, or support group, and talk internally with the person you miss. Visualize, imagine them sitting across from you, smiling. Say everything that's left unsaid. Listen to their response, often a single word like peace or carry on. Trust it. Around the world, cemeteries are architectural expressions of faith. Victorian gardens invite Sunday picnics among sculpted angels. Japanese Oaxaca ceremonies involve cleaning family graves and sharing stories aloud. Mexican Day of the Dead festivals transform blocks into festivals of marigolds and sugar skulls, emphasizing that laughter must sit alongside loss. These places place grief out in the open for the community to see, touch, and ritualize. Yet none of them imprison the dead. What if we redesign cemeteries less as repositories and more as classrooms? Pathways could feature plaques reminding visitors to practice gratitude, forgive unresolved grievances, or plant symbolic seeds of renewal. Augmented reality apps could overlay photos of ancestors onto gravestones, turning a stroll into an interactive biography. The goal: shift the focus from mourning their passing to honoring our next steps. Cayce would have approved. He called Earth a great university for the soul. The next time you pass through a cemetery gate, try this: walk slowly, mentally greeting each monument and thanking the person there for reminding you that time is a privilege. Notice how the atmosphere changes. The silence is thick, not of sickness but of comradeship. You are walking through the library of human experience, and each name is an open book. Contemplate your own eventual passing, not as a somber rehearsal, but as a strategic plan. What emotional legacy will you leave behind for those who survive you? Record voice messages, write letters for future milestones, curate playlists that express aspects of your personality that words can't. Cayce emphasized that intention lives after death. Convey your encouragement. Buddhist spirituality practices phawa, the intentional transfer of consciousness. Spiritual traditions offer preparatory rituals. Tibetan Buddhists practice phawa to create an energetic umbrella of permission, the intentional transfer of consciousness. Stoics meditate on death daily to hone their gratitude. You don't have to adopt a single system. Create a hybrid system, journaling gratitude every night, breathing slowly while imagining light radiating from your chest, forgiving before bed. Small habits weave an energetic parachute for the moment when consciousness leaves the body. Picture that moment: instead of darkness, a wide horizon colored by every act of kindness you've ever done. Loved ones who have gone before you stand like hikers on a ridge, cheering. Fear melts away as curiosity takes hold of the wheel. This isn't fantasy. Near-death experiencers around the world report being greeted with a warmth beyond words. If there's a chance they're right, then living courageously right now is not only possible, it's sensible. Listen, the wind in the cypress trees carries whispers from beyond sight. Those whispers say, nothing essential is lost. The body becomes silent, the stories continue to speak the one you began. The body becomes silent, the stories continue to speak, love continues to compose new verses. Whenever you smile at a memory, you become a co-author of that verse. Whenever you help a stranger because someone helped you, you extend the plot your loved one began. Tonight, light a candle, not because the flame chases the darkness, but because it proves that a single spark can reshape the landscape. Silently say the names of those who have died, thank them, and promise to shine in their honor. Promise to see the cemetery as a reminder, not a restraint, grief as a teacher, not a jailer. Coincidences are conversations, not accidents. Promise to meet them halfway in dreams, in laughter, in courageous choices. They listen. They respond. They celebrate every moment you choose love over fear. And when your name is carved in stone, the conversation continues, new voices, new lessons, an unbroken field of wise intentions that stretches far beyond the dawn.